Now, an age-long adage says, verify before you vilify. But this was not the case with the Deputy Governor of Kano State, Aminu Abdussalam, who retracted his allegation accusing the National Security Advisor, NSA, Nuhu Ribadu, of interfering in the Kano Emirate Tussle. Abdussalam, who acknowledged that he was misled to believe that the NSA was involved in the turnout of events in Kano, apologized for the embarrassment and damages his statement had caused Ribadu. BKO, with this development, were you surprised? Because when it first broke out, everyone was wondering why such allegations, and now he has apologized. Is it enough?
Yeah, but he was given a time ceiling within which to apologize, or there will be consequences. And despite the fact that he has immunity, he has done the right thing, because you are not going to be in power forever. The person that you have maligned, once you have exhausted your immunity, your time of immunity is gone, they can press charges against you. I mean, it is, people get away with all kinds of things. People get away with all kinds of things. Some lie against people. I am a victim of people just simply lying against me, assuming that this is my position on a matter. And they curse you, they will say all kinds of things. People who ordinarily, they are not good enough to lace your boot, come and abuse you, and then go. So how can a deputy governor, is talking now, he's saying that they were misled by intelligence. Which intelligence? If you cannot hold a man like this, you can't go to town and accuse him
publicly.
Of doing something. And the spoken word is like an arrow. Once you shoot it, you can't bring it back to its original place. You've already shown it's gone. It's gone. So the NSA felt bad about what was said about him, and he decided that he will pursue the case to a logical conclusion. And the deputy governor had to simply come out to say, no, we were misled. I take back what I said. I think that's fine. And I think that the NSA will be sufficiently placated, because the apology has been given substantial, what's it called, attention by the newspapers. So hopefully he learns from this. In the thick of things, people are unable to keep their emotions in check. They run their mouths and they land in trouble. It's a big thing in our country. And you see then they will turn back and lie against the press. That was misquoted. The press continues to suffer in the hands of people who cannot button up their mouths. The press, that was not what I said. I was taken out of context. When you were saying it, you didn't imagine that it will have some repercussions, but it's convenient for you to blame it on the press. That is what we suffer from these politicians.
But isn't there a way that this can be prevented? For instance, a law, that could protect the press from situations like this? No,
we the press too are guilty of all kinds of failings. We too will lie against people now. Some of us will report things without filtration. It's even a big problem now, because everybody sees himself as a journalist. People without training, they are wearing suits. You see them in TV studios. They are now like the lords of our trade, without training. So those of us who went through training, who suffered, you go and bring story, your editor will look at the story and tear it, humiliate you before that. Those of us who got training, we are fools, Abi. People don't want to go through any training, but they want to be like the King Kongs of our profession. That's what is happening. That's why they have big journalists all over the place, unreading journalists. People are too lazy to read, too lazy to even double-check. You know, some of them now have online platforms of their own. They have no training. So we too are guilty. I won't sit here and simply blame politicians alone. No, we too are guilty of some of these things. People not verifying stuff before putting it out there. And we end up misleading our people. Do you know how many times that happens? It happens a lot. So when we point one finger,
4 comes back.
The rest are pointing in our direction. I admit that we too, we have a lot of work to do. But these politicians have muddled the waters in Kano. Look at what is happening. Look, today again, we've been told that the Federal High Court has ordered that Sanusi should be evicted from the palace. Before then, there was an order of the court, you know, a Kano High Court, ordering them to evict Aminu Abdussalam from the mini palace in Nasarawa, where he's been staying since he got back. They are trying to use the courts to fight their war for them. They are trying to even up against one another using the courts. Politicians are a big problem in our country. That family, these two guys grew up under the same roof. They grew up under the same roof. Their parents share the same parent, the same father. But see politicians now in Kano, see what they've done to cause. These are not the kind of conflicts that you resolve easily.
So what can be done to resolve this conflict?
These are not the kind of conflicts. You see, one emir may eventually, out of the two emirs, one may eventually lose the battle. Right. Either through the courts or no. But you can see that there's a determination to say, no, you can't just do this and think you can get away with it. Because people are asking that, so does it mean now, in fact, somebody made a joke that, does it mean now that if a governor is coming, he will put his picture on his campaign poster, he will put the picture of his deputy, he will put the picture of the emir that he wants to take over when he becomes governor? So now say, Kano. I mean, it's such a shameless, shameful thing going on in Kano. 2 emirs. And who is to blame? Politicians. This whole thing is all politics that people are playing. It's all politics. The people who brought Sanusi, they have a history of not liking him. They have a history of hatred for him. They have a history of even demanding that he should be fired where Sanusi used to work. Sanusi is probably watching me. He knows I'm saying the truth. Where I used to work at UBA, they said, sack him. But today it's convenient to use him for politics. And at the end of the day, you are embarrassing the people of Kano. Now, this deputy governor has taken back what he said. But how about some other things that politicians say is after they said it, that they now say that it does not make sense. The governor said, a judge gave an order when he was not in Nigeria. The rules of the court permit him to do that. You have not checked. The rules of the court permit a judge to give an order virtually. The guidelines that the NJC issued in 2020 permit judges in critical situations, situations that need urgency, to give order virtually. You don't have to be physically present in your court. Come on. And the governor will come out and make it look like this has never happened. Even this judge, when he was serving, that same Justice Lima, when he was serving in Lagos, he gave judgments virtually. How about that? May 7, he gave judgment virtually. May 7 in this state. You know, he convicted the surgeon, the plastic surgeon, that the surgery went wrong. He convicted the surgeon virtually. Did anybody raise an alarm? Once politics is involved, you start hearing people say all kinds of things. Nothing says a judge cannot give a judgment if it's not present in his court. Within Nigeria, if it's not, it may not be in his court, he can give judgment. Outside Nigeria, if he's attending a conference, an international conference, he can give an order. from where he is. The rules of the court permit that. Well, we continue to mislead Nigerians, make it look like it's never done. Abba.
Labisi, your position on this matter, even as we are hopeful that this impasse, happening in Kano, sees the end of the day. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, for me, everything is politics. I don't think it has to do with the people of Kano, and I don't see the people of Kano benefiting in any way from the tussle that is going on right now. Like you rightly mentioned, the people involved there are cousins, and they both have their own supporters. And I also spoke about this issue yesterday, and for me, the stronger power is likely to have its way in this whole thing. But one thing that I also noticed, which for me is positive, is the fact that up till now, we've not recorded any case of bloodshedding. And that is very, very positive. Because before now, the fear was people will go on the streets and they begin to fight themselves and kill themselves. So I guess even the people themselves are probably becoming wiser.
Yes.
And they also know that they don't have to...
Sun is food.
Yes, they don't want to kill themselves over anybody. So I think that is positive enough. And I believe that with time, they will sort themselves out. I don't think it's something that we should waste our time on. They know themselves. They will settle themselves.
Indeed, let's hope for the end on this matter in Kano. Well, let's quickly go on a very quick break. You're still on to Journalist Hangout. We'll have more discussions coming your way in just a moment. Stay with us. You're still on to Journalist Hangout. But before we move on to our next topic, Babajide, let's quickly have your final thoughts on this issue happening in Kano. I was asking earlier on, what do you think will be the best way to resolve the conflict right now in the state?
You see, this matter, we have to be very careful, because this is the first time. Usually when a king is removed, they get banished to a distant community so that his presence will not cause commotion in the state. When Sanusi was removed and banished to Nasarawa State also, he went to court. And the same Federal High Court that people are abusing now gave judgment in favor of Sanusi that it's an infringement on his rights to say that he should be banished to a particular locality. And that's what enables Sanusi to be moving from point to point, giving speeches here and there, because he enjoys giving speeches a lot. It's more like
an orator,
an all-purpose analyst.
Okay, right.
You know, he will go give talk on economy, you can talk on virtually everything. I think there's a greater talent there that many of us take for granted. If he had not won that case, he would have been holed up in Toto, a place called Toto in Nasarawa State. You know, just there. He cannot move out of the place and all that. You know. That law, that judgment, that order of the court stopped them from pinning him down, pinning him to a location. With that kind of judgment and a precedent set, if you remove an emir in Kano, for example, you cannot say he cannot move around. If he likes, he can visit his friends in Lagos. He can even come to Kano. You know? Yes, a decision has not been reached on this matter, but it would have been more ideal if the banished emir did not come to Kano. Having come to Kano, he has his supporters. And if anybody tries to remove him from where he is, it will bring consequences. So they should not even, all of those judgments saying, oh, remove this person forcibly. I mean, what kind of judgment are you giving? In both cases, the High Court in Kano saying they should remove Aminu Abdussalam from the palace. Don't they weigh the consequences and the possibility of a burst of violence in carrying out such a judgment or another? And by the same token, they also gave another court, a federal high court this time, because those courts now, they are of concurrent jurisdiction, so no one is superior to the other. Once you are confronted by that kind of situation, it's only a superior court that can give us a tiebreaker. So maybe an appeal court now, if an appeal court now rules that one superior to both courts of coordinate jurisdiction, it means that that is the order that has to now be enforced. The way it is now is a stalemate. A federal high court has given an order that Sanusi should be sent packing from the palace. A Kano High Court had also given an order earlier that they should remove Aminu Abdussalam from the mini palace in Nasarawa, where he was, or where he's been since he came into town. So the matter has to be handled with utmost care. Even if the courts will still have the final say on this matter, I still believe that leaders of thought, those who genuinely want the peace of Kano, they have to come together and say, this is the way to go. This is what we need to do. It's not all matters that courts resolve. This is a family affair. Yes, politicians have muddled the waters. They've created the problem. I know that in their hearts, they know even they are confused now because they didn't see this coming. Nobody saw it coming that Aminu Abdussalam will come into Kano. And he was brought into Kano. And indeed, there is a smaller palace where they put him. Yes, those palaces are far apart. You know, one is even closer to Government House than that is where Aminu Abdussalam is. It's closer to Government House. You know, the other one is in the heart of town. Now, this is a real stalemate. It requires utmost wisdom to resolve this. And in my view, it's not the courts. We've seen people, I've seen emirs who went to court, they won in court, but they couldn't claim their seats. Yes, some emirs, but...
So it's beyond the courts, definitely.
I believe that there has to be... We have people, big people, people who have wisdom, elders that are untainted, that have integrity, that people respect. They should be able to come in. The Kano matter is an embarrassment. As somebody who worked in Kano for about 7 years, my heart is still
attached.
I feel very bad about what has happened. But I blame the politicians. I know this is the way they are. But sometimes you can't even, you won't expect that politicians can go that far. I mean, it's ridiculous.
And let's hope that there will be a final resolution to this situation in Kano.